Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at, listening to, and of course installing the Roush Cat-Back Exhaust, fitting all 2015 and newer EcoBoost Mustangs without active exhaust. Guys, as you just heard from our sound clips, you should be checking this out if you're looking for an exhaust that has 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter, something to really beef up the sound of your EcoBoost, which listen, we all know can be pretty difficult to do, but the Roush Cat-Back here does it in a way that has a really crisp, clear tone, a lot more aggressive without being too overwhelming. Now, I'll give it 3 out of 5 because it has a very minimal drone inside the cabin, just a little bit at highway speeds, but nothing too overwhelming, while also giving you a nice loud bark at the rear end, maybe even a couple backfires here and there. Now, the quality of the system here is top notch, which is exactly what we expect from Roush. Full 304 stainless steel kit, Mandrel-bent to increase that airflow. It does delete your factory resonator, so it is going to increase some of that airflow, power, and sound. And then finally, coming out the rear end here with your bullet style mufflers will be your 4-inch dual-walled polished 304 stainless steel tips. Now, the tips look really good in chrome. They are available in black if you're looking for something a little bit more stealthy. Now, when it comes to this kit, because it is some of the higher quality premium materials here, carries a price tag of right around $1,000, which is to be expected when we're talking 304 stainless. Now, the kit here doesn't require any permanent modifications. It's a direct bolt-on kit. I'm going to take you through every single step of the process, and we'll break down some of the details comparing this to stock in just a little bit. What do you say we work on the uninstall? It'll take you about 2 hours from start to finish. Let's get to it. Tools used in this install include an impact gun, extension, 13 and 15 millimeter deep sockets. Recommended would be a hanger removal tool, some WD-40 or PB Blaster, something similar, and a mallet. First step here, guys, underneath the car to get your factory Cat-Back out of the way. Grab a 15 millimeter deep socket. We're gonna loosen up the 2 bolts here on this band clamp right behind our factory muffler in front of this flex pipe. Now, we don't actually have to remove this. We don't have to remove this hanger either. We're going from here all the way to the back. Grab your 15 socket and loosen these guys up. Next up, we're in the rear end here looking at these 2 hangers. We don't need to remove the hangers from the isolators. As a matter of fact, it's way easier just to unbolt it from the frame itself. So grab a 13 millimeter socket. I'm also gonna use an extension, and I'm gonna go right over our rear sway bar to get those guys out of the way. All right, so from here, what you can do is just lift up and swing this guy off because it's gonna be hooked into that frame slot. Just gonna unhook these guys, get them down. All right, guys, so I'm back at the front of the vehicle. I'm gonna use a mallet to just tap this band clamp back a little bit. We're gonna shuffle this out of position at the front end, move it back toward me, and slide it out of the hangers above our tips. I got my buddy Joe helping me out here to hold one end. If you're working on the ground, it's gonna be a lot easier, but if you're in the air like we are, you might need a helping hand. So I'm gonna use this mallet here, tap this back. There it is. Come back toward me and slide them out of the hangers and set it aside. So we got our factory Cat-Back off of our 2018 EcoBoost, the non-active exhaust, of course. Comparing that to our Roush Cat-Back, I want to take you through some of the similarities and differences. Let's start with the differences up front here. Now, as you can see, our new Y-pipe is a resonator delete. We're getting rid of the factory resonator to open things up a lot more, remove some of the airflow restriction, remove some of the sound baffling. So really, this is just gonna open up that sound, but also give you a little bit more power, reducing some of that back pressure. Now, moving forward, the entire kit here is a Mandrel-bent 304 stainless steel. Highest quality materials on the market, more so than your factory exhaust, which as you can see is looking a little worse for wear, and the car has less than 1,000 miles on it. So this guy's definitely gonna hold up a lot better than the factory exhaust. Moving up, you'll see that the mufflers here are a big difference as well. The factory mufflers are a lot bigger. They have a lot more baffling inside, minimizing that volume output, which is also restricting a lot of that airflow. The new mufflers here, the bullet style from Roush, is a lot more open, a lot more free-flowing, but it's also gonna give you that crisp tone that you heard from our sound clips earlier without being too overwhelming with all of the drone. Exiting out the rear here, last thing I wanna compare is our tips. Those factory tips here are a lot smaller than the new Roush 4-inch dual-walled polished stainless steel. These are also 304 stainless, so they'll hold up a lot longer. They'll retain that polished finish. It's not gonna discolor like the rest of your factory Cat-Back has. Now this guy here is a lot bigger, and like I said, it is that dual-walled, so it's thicker, which looks a lot more aggressive, at least in my opinion. Now they do have black tips available in the category if you're not really feeling the polished chrome look. In my opinion, the polish looks really good on our 18 Eco. It matches some of the other chrome trim that we have going on, but if you like black, that's available as well. Before we get started, we do have to transfer over the factory isolators, so let's pop those guys off and move them on over. Now, removing these guys that we unbolted from our frame here is pretty simple. I'm gonna use a hanger removal tool, which is recommended, but not required. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. I'm also gonna use WD-40 here. I'm just gonna squirt that guy in here because this is looking a little rusty, which means it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to remove without some lubricant. So just takes a little bit right inside the isolator there. Grab your hanger removal tool, and what we're gonna do is just pinch this guy right off. It is really that simple. Let's pop this guy off as well. And now we can transfer them over. Now, when you move these guys over to your new hangers here, you want to take note of this tab. This tab you want facing the front of the vehicle, because if you remember, it slides on just like this, and it's gonna hang up into the slot on our frame. So just make sure you got them facing the right way. All right? From here, we can install our Y-pipe. First step here, guys, grab your factory band clamp off of your factory exhaust, and we're gonna slide that guy onto the pipe. Now, you want to take note of this little tab here. This tab is going to hook around that button that's welded onto the side. So we're going to slide that guy in. It's more of a retainer to make sure you got it in the right spot. All right, back that all the way in. Now we can grab our Y-pipe and install it to the other end. Next up is our Y-pipe, and as you can see, the Y-pipe does bend a certain way, so you want to make sure it's favoring the passenger side. So we can see it's bending toward that way. We're going to install it just like that. Slide that guy into your factory band clamp. All right, seat that guy all the way back, make sure it's flat, and now we can tighten down this clamp with our 15 socket. All right, so you just want to make sure that the Y-pipe is a lot more level. Just make sure it's lined up properly, and then you're going to tighten this down. All right, so now what we can do is install our passenger side pipe first. Make sure you have a clamp over this inlet side. I'm going to slide that into the Y-pipe and line up that clamp. From here, what we're gonna do is rotate that hanger assembly up, and we're gonna pop this guy into place on that slot. It's really just that simple. You'll just hang it right up. From here, just align that clamp, grab your socket, and tighten it down. So now we can do the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna lift this guy up on our driver's side, slide it into position. You wanna make sure you have your clamp on the end of the pipe. Now we can hang up that isolator, right? From here, we can rotate this guy upward and connect it to the frame. All right, so align that clamp now on the end and tighten it down. Next up, we're gonna grab our passenger side muffler assembly, and we're gonna slide the hanger first into the isolator, just like this, push it all the way in there. Now we can guide it back and attach it to our pipe. You want to make sure, again, that you have your clamp positioned here as well before you insert the pipe. All right, just position it all the way back, rotate your clamp up, and tighten it down. All right, do the same thing on your driver's side. Before we move on to our tips, let's go back to this frame here on the isolators, grab our 13 bolts, and we're just gonna thread these guys in place. All right, grab your 13 socket and tighten them down. Next step, we're gonna put our tip into place. Grab one of the larger clamps included in the kit, slide this guy over, grab your 15 socket again and tighten it down. Repeat for the other side. Last step, tighten down the clamp for your driver's side tip, and then go back and tighten everything back down. All right, so just go back, make sure everything's aligned properly, tighten them down, and you're good to go. Now that's gonna wrap up my review, install, and sound clip of the Roush Cat-Back Exhaust, fitting all 2015 and newer EcoBoost Mustangs without the active exhaust. And this is a great way to go with some of the highest quality materials available. You can get yours right here at AmericanMuscle.com.